Hey guys, Pretzelman 945 here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing an anime that I just finished, which is Ouran High School Host Club. Now, the best way that I think I could describe Ouran High School Host Club is that it is the most late 2000s anime possible for both good and bad reasons. Um, for good reasons, it has a lot of that mid to late 2000s charm, especially in like its humor and the fact that it has a really good dub. I watched the dub; it was really good because I'd heard it was really good, and I agree, dub was really good. Um, Also, just like the general nature of the animation and the gags and the humor and stuff like that, but also for the negative because it's based off a manga that was going in the 2000s it didn't adapt the full story, and it kind of has an abrupt ending. Um and that certainly is an issue that I have with excuse me, I just ate dinner. That is certainly an issue that I have with it because I do think it's unfortunate that the full story couldn't be adapted, and as a result, the ending does sort of feel unsatisfying, especially because the final two episodes with the whole thing of like Hamaki's going back to France, like that was the most predictable shit ever that he wasn't actually going to do that. Um, it was a bit um disappointing and quite underwhelming of a conclusion. But unfortunately, that's just how a lot of shows were like that. Were like it. They were like that in the 2000s. Especially the late 2000s, where like manga were just not finished yet, and so they just kind of either ended abruptly or they got anime original endings. And honestly, I think I would have much preferred like an anime original ending, kind of like what Nana did. Um, because that ending was actually really good, and even though I haven't, I would like to finish the manga to Nana at some point. I don't really know how it concludes. I would like to do that at some point, but I'm also satisfied by the anime original ending that it got. Whereas Oron just kind of like ends. And I did kind of see what happens at the end, which is like, Tamaki and Haruhi get together. Um, and I guess like it's hard for me to describe my opinions on this show because I feel like my criticisms sound too negative and take away too much from what I actually enjoyed about it, and yet there were things that kind of were quite underwhelming or disappointing to me that I can't really hide the fact, like um I really wanted more from this. And when I say something like that, it probably sounds a lot more negative than I intend it to, but um it's just the simple truth because a lot of things about this show and the way that it was executed to me were kind of underwhelming. So just the fact that like I think my biggest issue with the show personally is the fact that a lot of like I felt like there was a lot of time wasted on repetitive backstory episodes that felt like they retreaded a lot of the same ground that was already established better and more subtly in previous episodes with each character of the main ensemble cast, all the members of the host club. Um like, I thought it was pretty clear that Hyoya and Tamaki had a close friendship, so I don't feel like I needed an entire episode of backstory, especially right before the kind of double finale in episodes 25 and 26 I just described a second ago. Um or like I didn't need another episode about how the about like exploring the twins' backstory and how they joined the club. Like I don't I feel like there were at least 3 to 4 episodes that were just extremely repetitive backstory bits that could have been completely cut potentially in favor of I don't know, adapting, like making more progress on the actual story. And I don't know if the manga was like that as well because I haven't read it, but I'm analyzing only the anime, and so therefore I have these gripes about the anime specifically. Um, I, yeah, I think that was my biggest issue because it just felt like a lot of time was wasted when there could have been potentially more progress made on like the progression of certain characters' relationships and stuff like that. Um, I also like this is a bit more of a nitpicky thing to me, but um, I do think that this show it goes like way too hard on the whole wit versus commoner gimmick. Like, I would honestly say maybe about 70%, 70 to 75% of the humor is based around some kind of joke of how Haruhi and the stuff that she does as a commoner is different and crazy to the rich people. And I don't know, like, it was funny in the beginning, but like, it got so old because like it became the brunt of like every plot point almost is like the difference between the two, and I think that the core of this is the fact that Tamaki as a character could be quite annoying at times. I didn't hate him overall. I thought he was a decent character, but he was probably my least favorite of the main ensemble cast just because his whole gimmick of like calling Haruhi his daughter was weird to me. Um uh and also just like I feel like he was the character that really embodied this core of like um it, exaggerating the rich versus commoner type thing. um Now that might have sounded like I had a lot negative to say, and in truth, I probably am more negative on this show than positive. But I do want to talk about the stuff I enjoyed. Um, I really enjoyed the twins, minus the repetitive backstories of them. Um, uh, I thought that they had a interesting relationship with Haruhi, especially Hikaru. I think is the one that had the date episode, if I'm remembering correctly. If not, that I would have completely failed at their game. Um, but like the two of them as a comedic duo were quite funny. Um, Hani Nozuka was okay. His shtick got a little bit old, but he wasn't bad. Um, Mori Nozuka was pretty funny. My favorite character was Kyoya, because in the dub voiced by fuck, why can't I think of his name? Oh my uh J. Michael Tatum, my he's my favorite dub voice actor, and I can never seem to remember his name. So yeah, he was voiced by J. Michael Tatum, my favorite dub voice actor. Um, and also I like characters like him, like he was the smart character. um and his character, like, his struggles with family and stuff like that. I thought it was by far the most interesting of any of the characters. So liked Haruhi as an MC. I liked how sort of casually awkward she was about a lot of things, but like she also had some real personality to her. Um and just in general, my favorite thing about it was watching episode to episode, because like the humor and just the general funness of them interacting with each other was what made it like enjoyable to watch for me, and why I'm like kind of, and while I was watching, I'm kind of able to ignore the flaws that I talked about to a somewhat bigger degree. But you know, now I've finished the show, it's a little bit harder to ignore those for me. So overall, I did enjoy this show, but it's definitely got some big issues for me. Um, I think that this is a show that I really wanted more from, and I didn't really get it, which is why a lot of things probably kind of felt a bit underwhelming to me. Um, but I don't really know what the discourse around Oron is. So let me know in the comments if you've seen it. You love Oron High School Host Club? Do you think my criticisms are crazy, or do you kind of agree with me? Um, and yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.